April 5, 2023. Good day all. This is a message from Sierra Victor. We continue with our current program based on a book named Spy Secrets That Can Save Your Life by Jason Hansen as a baseline. The information, techniques, and skills is applicable and adapted to the high crime environment in South Africa. Chapter 2. Situational Awareness. You can have the best possible self-defense training in how to ward off any kind of attack, how to escape restraints in seconds, and what to do in a car chase, but ultimately it's situational awareness that's going to keep you alive. Situational awareness is being aware of your surroundings and what is happening around you. It means being able to identify situations and persons that could be a potential threat before they become that. It allows you to act before a crisis occurs. It's always best to try and avoid any kind of violent confrontation. Here is an example. The man settled about 2 feet away from where I was standing. While my wife and I were waiting for the walk signal so that we could cross the street, he stood directly to my left. Because he was giving me so much eye contact, I was watching him in my peripheral vision, and paying a lot of attention to what he was doing. I made a point of watching his hands. It's hands that kill because hands reach for knives or guns and throw punches. When the light turned, I purposely started taking small steps. I noticed that the guy was pacing me, walking step for step with me. At this point I had my tactical pen out. After about 3 steps, I turned to him and I said, "Excuse me, do you know what time it is?" He looked at me funny, and I said again, "Excuse me, do you know what time it is?" He responded, 4:30. We stared at each other for about a second, but it felt like an eternity. Suddenly he turned around and quickly walked away. He crossed the street and I never saw him again. Criminals don't want their targets to know they're onto them, but I knew. And by indicating to him that I knew what was going on, he made a choice to move on. Practicing situational awareness put me in a position to know that something was off. Had I been paying attention to my cell phone instead of what was happening around me, I would have ended up in an altercation with a mugger. If you take a look at what most people are doing on the street, at a playground, or a shopping mall, you're going to see one common factor. The majority of people are either talking on their phones or sending and reading text messages. If you are looking at your phone, you have your head down, you're disengaged, and you likely have no idea what's actually going on around you. Or maybe you're not talking on your cell phone, but you're preoccupied by work, stress, or just daydreaming about an upcoming vacation. The bottom line is that if you're not alert and aware, you are vulnerable. Smartphones and situational awareness. Most people use the time waiting for the traffic light to change, to quickly read or send a text message from their phones. Even when listening or making voice notes, you are distracted from your surroundings. We all know that in order for a hijacking to occur, your vehicle must be stationary. Where else than at an intersection or traffic light? The law in South Africa prohibits using a cell phone while driving, and we would never advise you to break a law, but don't use your cell phone while waiting at a stop street or traffic light. When stationary, you must observe what is happening around you, who is approaching your vehicle, and don't just focus on the street vendor on the front. He might be only a decoy for someone coming from the side or the back. Bottom line is, no cell phone use at intersections. The same applies when walking down the street or even in a mall. Practical exercise. Do yourself a favor the next time when you go to a mall and look at the other people and how they use their cell phones. Imagine yourself to be a criminal and see the mistakes they make, which would make it easy for you to grab the phone and run. Especially when listening to voice notes in a noisy mall. People hold the phone horizontal, with the bottom part where the speaker is, to their ear with just a couple of fingers. To grab the phone and run would be very easy. Or they keep the phone in their back pocket. Another mistake. Keep the phone in a front pocket or hold it firmly in your hand while in the mall. Let's move on to the Cooper color codes. The most important colors, white, yellow, orange, and red. At its most basic, situational awareness is about remaining alert and knowing what's going on around you. It's really about being able to assess your environment, anticipating danger, and being ready to take any further action if necessary. Cooper's color codes are used to describe different degrees of situational awareness, as follows. Condition white, unprepared and totally unaware. The individuals I described earlier in this chapter would have been operating under condition white. It is crucial that you learn to avoid this condition at all times. What it looks like: head down, eyes averted, oblivious to what's going on around you. A person in condition white may be daydreaming, talking on a cell phone, texting, or engaged in a conversation. If you're in condition white, you may be sitting on a bench reading, or you might walk into a dark alleyway at night without thinking twice about it, putting yourself in a position where you could easily be attacked. If you aren't alert to what's happening in your immediate environment, you are vulnerable and unprepared for whatever might happen next. Condition yellow, relaxed alert. When you are in condition yellow, there's no specific threat, but you remain alert and aware. Condition yellow isn't about expecting an attack, but about allowing yourself to be constantly taking in information about what's going on around you. People functioning in condition yellow are difficult to surprise. This is how most people operated before cell phones. What it looks like: your head is up, you're aware of your surroundings. You may be having a conversation, but aren't so distracted that you wouldn't notice a car coming your way, or a person heading toward you with intent to attack. A person in condition yellow would definitely notice a strange person approaching him on the street, and would have ample time to decide how to respond by crossing the street, changing direction, calling for help, and so on. Condition yellow allows you to notice if trouble is coming your way. It's important to remember that staying in condition yellow keeps you out of condition red, which I'll get to in a minute. Being in condition yellow while walking with my wife in Baltimore City is what kept us from getting mugged, and it can help you stay safe too. Condition orange, a state in which there is a specific alert. You may notice a man in a thick winter coat walking around a crowded building in the middle of August. You may be walking to the parking lot when you notice someone paying too much attention to you. Something about a situation or an individual feels potentially threatening. You prepare yourself by putting your hand on your tactical pen, or you get out your cell phone to call for help. What it looks like: I immediately went into condition orange when my wife and I were standing on the street next to the person I believed was going to harm us, as described in the example earlier. I was in condition yellow, aware, when I noticed something off about this particular person. Once in condition orange, I got out my tactical pen. I always carry a gun where I legally can, but I don't have a concealed carry permit for the state of Maryland. I'll get to the benefits of carrying a tactical pen shortly. I remained alert and was ready to deflect an attack. If you feel a person is following you, turning around and walking into a crowded store is another example of a condition orange response. Condition red is the crisis condition, but you are mentally prepared to fight or escape. You've predetermined what exactly was going to cause you to react, and you've now received that specific trigger from the criminal. You got out your tactical pen while you were still in condition orange, but now you're striking your attacker with it, fighting for your life. While it's entirely possible the situation may involve fighting or using a weapon or any self-defense tactics you have, it's also possible the situation will be resolved by other means, such as calling for help or running into a well-populated area. What it looks like: a person is responding to a real threat. She has predetermined that this threat is likely to occur, and has not been taken by complete surprise. This individual in condition red may have already noted an escape and is running to it, has decided to thwart off the attacker, may have drawn a knife or other weapon, or may be calling for help. Always try to stay in yellow to avoid red. Thank you for listening or reading this message. We will continue in our next message on Spy Secrets, with Chapter 2. Situational Awareness, Pre-Incident Indicators. Please feel free to use and distribute as needed. Our messages are not by any means enticing you to a revolution of sorts, but rather to equip you with the necessary theoretical background in order to assist local armed forces or police in stabilizing a SHTF situation. Please contact any admin on any Sierra Victor group for our previous material or search for our channel on YouTube. We wish you well. Sierra Victor.